Okay, so here we are. This is part three. So when I left off, I was living in my dad's house in his little room, and I was just still, every day I was on the computer looking for jobs. I was trying to find something. I was doing temp work. Back then, you could still do fucking temp work. And like I actually found a really nice temp job doing like some little graphic design stuff, working for a place that like I don't know, it was like gravel quarries, but like it's like associations, like one of those is like the NRA, but for gravel quarries. And like I ended up doing like having to like do like this project where I like had to like I had to like crop and fix like several hundred pictures of gravel quarries, and I don't know if you've ever seen a gravel quarry, but they're not exactly. They're not exactly fun to look at. I mean, there's just they're really hard to like make into like a palatable image. But that was fine, and they wanted to offer you a job. But I ended up. What happened is I applied for this one job in downtown DC for the National Science Foundation. And the National Science Foundation is this place that works for it's the government. And they basically, like, if you have, like, some kind of, like, science thing, you can, like, talk to them and they will give you money to do your scientific project. And I'm a big fan of science. And I can't do it. I mean, I don't know what, like, I can't do science. Like, I can't, like, I don't know. I can't do the math. I'm not really good at math, and I'm not really good at chemistry. I just kind of wasn't that good at, and I didn't, that kind of stuff. But I really appreciate what science is, and so I ended up applying for the job, and I didn't get the job. But the thing is, I came in, and there was this guy, Cliff Braverman, who was one of the greatest men I've ever known in my entire life. The people, like, it was like a job where it was sort of where, like, I didn't actually work for the NSF. I worked for this other company, and I was just sort of contracted through this company. And like, so I came in and I interviewed with Cliff, with this NSF guy, and the two guys from the video production company were these other guys. And they didn't like me so much, like two guys from the company. But Cliff liked me. So they ended up hiring this other guy who had sort of like maybe a little better credentials. Maybe it just seemed like, I don't know what they liked about him, but like he looked like he was a better guy on paper or on the streets or something like that. But then Cliff liked me so much that he actually took part of the budget for something else in the place and like created another position for me. Because he had this idea that he really wanted to make the NSF an amazing video place. So I ended up having this job, and it was awesome. And like, I will never have this cool a job again probably in my life. Well, unless, you count what I'm doing now, which is pretty cool, but I'm not making shit for it. But, so I worked there, and I was doing video shit, and I was doing this stuff that I never thought I'd do. Learn how to edit in Final Cut, and learn how to edit in Avid, and all this stuff, and like just had so much freedom, and like could make up my own projects. And eventually, like, it got to the point where like all this stuff was happening, and it was really, really great. Except, boom, I wasn't that great because I was still fucking drinking, and on top of that, something was happening in my brain. And I had a major schism. Something happened in 2008, right around when Obama was elected, and I just had a manic break. And it was not like I started like doing drugs and going crazy or anything, but I started acting not very differently. I started acting kind of like how I'm acting now, but not as controlled. Like, I was doing shit like, I remember in Christmas time, I was like trying to get everybody in the line at the grocery store to sing Christmas carols and stuff. Like, I was just like really just kind of being obnoxious. And Aaron was like worried about me, and I started like going to parties, and I one day decided to go to the inauguration for Obama, and that was like an amazing fucking day, and I'm never going to regret doing that. But the thing is like I was just a little off the rails at that point. But I was also drinking and going crazy with that, and it was just getting worse and worse. And eventually, at my job, and then I fell in love with this girl at my job, and it was just like I want, and Aaron and I were married at that point, and I just said, Aaron, we got to get a divorce because I was just unhappy. And I just like all this stuff. And so we got separated, and then she moved out, and then I didn't know what to do. And then I just kept drinking and drinking and drinking. And there was this other thing, and I just was like a fucking mess. And I just kept being a fucking mess until eventually they didn't want me at the NSF anymore. Like the contractors came and said, you're just like, I was in and out of the hospital at that point. I was constantly going in the hospital for some shit. I mean, the psych ward at the hospital for some shit. And I was just, I'm going to have to split this into more parts. I was so messed up and broken that I was just drinking, and I was pushing everybody away from me. I said that I was in love with this girl. Like, I started being really weird. Like, I just was so fucking drinking all the time and doing all these horrible things that I had alienated myself from my family. I had alienated myself from Aaron. I had alienated myself. And then I eventually alienated myself from this girl who was like my only friend in DC at that point. And she was just like, one day she said, like, I remember something happened, and I was like, I wrote her an email, and I was like, what is wrong with you? Why are you such a robot? Why aren't you in love with me? Because it was sort of like, she was like, yeah, I do like you a lot, but I need to know that you're not going to be like crazy. And I was like, I won't be crazy. It'll just start loving me. And like, eventually she just got so exasperated that she said, I can't anymore. And it broke my heart, and it broke me as a person. And I just went deeper and deeper. After she did that, I just started drinking more and more. I started drinking at work. I got caught passed out under my desk one day. I was really, really bad. And there was not, the depression was hitting me so hard, and they were like really sympathetic, but they couldn't keep me on. And I mean, I was making like $60,000 a year, but I was throwing it all away on this apartment in fucking DC that was really nice. No, it wasn't nice. It was really, really small, but it was in a really nice area. And but like, I didn't have any savings. I didn't have anything, and I fucking I got fired, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have a car. I didn't have. So I just like bailed. I bailed on my apartment. I put all my shit in a storage place. I went to go live with my friend Robert for a while until he got exasperated with me because I was just drinking fucking gallons of vodka every day and not doing anything, until finally Aaron said, okay, you know what? You can come back. You can come with me. Because Aaron had actually left me, and she really loved LA. She did not want to leave LA. She wanted to stay in LA. And so I just had nowhere to go, and I said, can I come back to LA? And she said, okay. And I came to her, and I lived in her apartment with her, and we like lived together and slept together, but she wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. She went to work every day. I was trying desperately to find a job. I couldn't find a job. My unemployment ran out. I didn't have anything, And she just was there. And it got worse and worse. I spent every day in Los Angeles. Like, basically, she would go to work. I would fucking leave. I would walk 3 miles up the road to the. If I could get together the money, I would walk 3 miles up the road to the fucking CVS and buy a bottle of vodka, and then drink it, and then walk back and then drink it and sit in the house and send out job things and not get any responses. And I was just trapped in this horrible world. And there was this one point where they had a pool on the roof, and you had to like use this special key to get into the pool. And one day I got so drunk that I didn't have the key, so I like climbed over the door to get into and go and like hang out. and I like fell off the top of the door and like went down on my heels and like pretty much just smashed my heels. And like I didn't have any insurance, so I was fucking bedridden then. And the only thing that I could think about being bedridden was that I couldn't go and buy vodka. I couldn't walk over and buy vodka. And I eventually got crutches, and here was me, fucking walking on crutches with 2 broken feet, going to get vodka. And that's what my life was. And it was that until something happened. And one day, I was working on something, and Erin was working on something, and she was like, "Stop making noise, get out of here." And I went into her closet, and I snuck a bottle of vodka, and I sat in the closet, and I was watching The Walking Dead on my phone, because I had just gotten one of those new Android phones. And she came in, and she found me drinking the vodka, and she was like, "That's it, you're out. I can't deal with this anymore." And I'll tell you exactly what she did in the next video, because the next video is